Hello class, another day, another challenge. Well, last time on this book, we talked about advertisements. We talked about the bagel test and the tricks advertisers use to get you to buy their products. Well, it's time for Colloquial English, part 8 and 9, talking about advertising. But before we start, as always, make sure to like and subscribe. It's showtime. Everyone, look at this picture. Yeah, that's George Tannenbaum. Well, first, I need you to read the biographical information about this guy. Yeah, have you seen any ads for the companies he has worked with? Okay, so let's read it together. George Tannenbaum was born in 1957 in Yonkers, New York, and was educated at Columbia University in New York. Okay, he has worked on advertising campaigns for many well-known companies, such as IBM. Now, IBM is the first computer ever. Yeah, International Business Machine. Mercedes-Benz, okay, Gillette, Citibank, and FedEx. Oh, nice companies, big names. Okay, not bad. So I need you to watch the video. We're going to interview this guy and answer these questions. And there's a mini glossary for you. For example, jingle, a short song or tune that is easy to remember and is used in advertising on radio or television. And H.O. Farina, a company that has been making cereals since the 1940s. They ran an advertising campaign in the 50s based on a cartoon character named Wilhelmina. Okay, very good. So let's learn something together. Some of you may study business and you can learn a thing or two. Okay, so watch the video and answer the questions.
What first drew you to advertising as a career choice?
What drew me to advertising was actually, in a weird way, I had no choice. Third generation advertising guy. My father's brother, my uncle, who was 15 years older than he, was in advertising, believe it or not, in the 1940s in Philadelphia. My father kind of took the baton from him, was in advertising, and I grew up with it. And so I've been making a living in the business since 1984. It's a long time. It's 30 years.
Do you still remember any commercials from your childhood?
So I remember a lot of commercials. Growing up in an advertising household, as we did, TV was more of a social event in those days. It wasn't a TV in every room. Like the family would gather to watch television. And we were told not to talk, during the commercials. We could talk during the shows. So I grew up kind of watching commercials. I remember a lot of commercials. I bet you most people of my generation would remember a lot of, and I feel kind of guilty saying this because they're usually decried as not very creative, but you remember a lot of jingles.
What do you think makes jingles memorable?
Among purists in the field, jingles are, laughed at, scoffed at, but God, you remember them. What do they call them? Earworms. They get in your head and you can't get them out sometimes. And you add that to, almost everyday exposure, 6 times a day. It's going to get in there. I can do, I could sing one for you. There was a kid's hot cereal for children called H.O. Farina. And it was an animated cartoon. It was very rudimentary. If you saw it today, you wouldn't believe it was like a national broadcast cartoon. And it was a little story of Willie and Wilhelmina. And Willie trips on a rock. And he goes, every day I trip over that rock, Wilhelmina. And she says, move it, Willie. And he says, can't, too big. And I bet you I'm getting this word for word, if you could find it. And she says, I will. And he says, you're a girl. And she picks it up. And then the jingle comes up and it goes, strong Wilhelmina eats her farina. Like I said, I probably heard that 500 times, maybe more when I was growing up, because it was every weekend for about 8 years.
All right, very good. Interesting, very interesting. If you need, you can rewind and watch this again and again and again. But if you're ready, let's answer it together. You can check your answers with your friends. So, which other members of his family have worked in advertising? Well, he talked about his father's brother, his uncle, and his father. When did George start working in advertising? Well, in 1984. And what wasn't he allowed to do when the family was watching TV? Well, to talk when the commercials were on. And why does he think jingles are so memorable? Well, because they get into your head and you can't get them out. You know, he said something like earworms or something, and you sometimes hear them several times a day. Okay, and 5. What kinds of ads were in the H.O. Farina TV commercial? Well, animated cartoons, advertising cereal for children. And what happens in the story of Wilhelmina and Willie? Well, Willie trips over a rock every day, so one day Wilhelmina tells him to move it. When he says that he can't because it is too big, she says she will do it. And Willie says she isn't strong enough. But he's wrong. Wilhelmina eats H.O. Farina, so she is strong and she moves the rock. Very interesting, very, very interesting indeed. Now, this is one of my favorite subjects, advertising.
Watch Wilhelmina reach for Farina. H.O. Farina, cream, Farina, smooth and delicious. That's why we love it so. H.O.
Like Wilhelmina, everyone is spooning for Farina. H.O. Farina, so smooth, hot, and delicious in just 2 minutes. Enriched with vitamin B1 and iron. 100% digestible, too. Digestible as milk. It's the creamy heart of the wheat. That's why.
You're never too young. And you're never too old.
To enjoy delicious, nutritious H.O. Cream Farina.
Like Wilhelmina, you love Farina. H.O. Farina, cream, Farina, smooth and delicious. That's why you love it so. H.O. Yummy. Kind to the tummy.
Okay, everyone. Now, this is part 2 of the interview. I need you to complete the notes with 1 or 2 words. So, taking notes is very important, especially if you're taking TOEFL exam. Because in TOEFL listening, first you listen, you take notes, and then you see the questions. And of course, in university lectures, the most important part is taking notes. So this skill will help you a lot. Now it's time to practice it with me. Watch the video, complete the notes, and then we can check together. Now here's a little dictionary for you. So you can use it if you don't know a word. Let's go.
What elements of a commercial are the most important?
To me, a commercial basically is built in 3 parts. If you think of it as a pyramid, the top part of the pyramid, I would say, is impact. I have to intrude upon your life, because you're probably working on your computer while you're watching TV, or you're doing something. And when I talk about a TV commercial, it's the same for a web ad or an app. So you have to get impact, you have to intrude, you have to kind of knock on the door. The second thing is communication. What do you want the person to know? And that needs to be clear and precise. And the third thing is the hardest. It's persuasion, because you're running a commercial to get people to do something. So it's that amalgamation. Another way of talking about it, and this is old school, but there's a acronym that probably comes from the Mad Men era called AIDA, like the opera. Attention, interest, desire, action.
How do you feel about using celebrities to sell things?
sometimes it's using a celebrity is a shortcut to intrusion. Because people pay attention to celebrities. Hopefully, it's a celebrity that has some bearing on the brand. That I don't think if I was working on a depilatory, I'd want to use Tommy Lee Jones, but that would just be gross. But you find the right person, they can have special meaning, I think. And we do live in a celebrity culture. And people, their ears perk up when they see a celebrity. So if you go back to that pyramid I drew, it's a way of getting impact. I'm not a giant fan of it, but sometimes you do things you're not a giant fan of.
On your website, you say, I can make people laugh. How important is humour in advertising?
I tend not to be funny in TV commercials. I'm just partly because I'm kind of a cerebral guy, and I wind up having to use that more than humor. But I think humor is incredibly important in the business, and a lot of the commercials that really resonate with people, I think, are funny. A lot of movies, a lot of everything,
All right, very good. So George says that a commercial is made up of 3 elements. What are those elements? Well, impact, communication, and persuasion. Okay? The acronym IDA stands for attention, interest, desire, action. And according to George, using a celebrity in advertising is a way of getting impact, but he isn't a giant fan of it. And George thinks that humor in advertising is incredibly important. Yeah. For that, I have a good advertisement for you. Let's watch it.
Sorry.
Sorry. Great. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Now you're going to watch part 3 of the interview with Mr. George Tannenbaum. And you're going to circle the correct phrase as easy as that. So if you're ready, let's get to it.
With all the technology, viral advertising, etc., do you think billboards and TV commercials have had their day?
Have billboards and TV commercials had their day? You know what? I don't think so. I mean, I can tell you empirically, I can tell you rationally that 75% of all media dollars is spent on broadcast. And I know it's like current to say I don't have a TV or I never watch TV, but people do. The fact is TV viewership is at an all-time high. So I don't think TV is dead. And I don't think billboards will be, something as kind of passé as a billboard will be dead as long as like the highways are crowded, because you got a captive audience. And until we can kind of pixelize ourselves and beam ourselves to work, I think there'll be billboards. I mean, they can be effective.
As a consumer, and obviously as an advertiser, does advertising influence the decisions you make?
Yeah, I'm very susceptible to advertising. I think because I tend to notice it. I think I'm very sensitive to. I think I'm very sensitive to stuff that isn't true. But when I see something that's well crafted and appeals, I think, to both my head and my heart. I think I register those things.
Is there an existing advertising campaign you wish you'd come up with? And why do you think it is so effective?
Is there an existing advertising campaign? Yeah, that I wish I did. There's a few. I think the stuff that is being done for Nike, just in general, for 30 years has been exemplary. You know, they tapped into a mindset and they made everyone feel like they were athletic, and they became kind of the gold standard, and they rarely hit a false note. Same thing with Apple, though people are distressed in the industry about the latest direction Apple's been taking, which seems less sincere.
Why do you think the Apple campaign is so effective?
You know, Apple took, I think Apple is effective because they looked at an industry and they said, here's what's wrong with the industry. And everything that industry does, we're going to do differently. So that industry, for years and years and years and years, is talking about speeds and feeds. And they're talking about 697 megahertz and 4 megabytes of RAM or gigabytes of RAM, whatever it is. And Apple just said, it works. And what they did was they said, you want to be creative, this machine makes you creative. And they simplified. They were compelling, and they never lied. Yeah.
Okay, if you need, as always, you can rewind and watch it multiple times. Number 1, he thinks that billboard and TV advertising will remain important. Now, number 2, he tends to notice both good and bad ads. Okay. Number 3, he thinks Nike ads are very successful because they make people feel good about themselves. He thinks Apple's approach to advertising was very innovative. And last one, their advertising message was honest and clear. Great, you got it. So far, so good. Looking at language, metaphors and idiomatic expressions. So Mr. George Tannenbaum uses a lot of metaphors and idiomatic expressions to make his language more colorful. For example, took the baton, continue the family tradition from relay races in track and fields. Okay, now I need you to listen very carefully to some extracts from the interview and complete the missing words. Most of them are idiomatic expressions and metaphors. Let's see.
You know, what do they call them? Earworms. They get in your head and you can't get them out sometimes. And I bet you I'm getting this word for word, if you could find it. We do live in a celebrity culture, and people, you know, their ears perk up when they see a celebrity. Have billboards and TV commercials had their day? Because you got a captive audience. They became kind of the gold standard, and they rarely hit a false note.
All right, very good. So you have them right now. Now your job is to go on Google or ChatGPT, whatever, and tell me their meanings. For example, earworms. For example, something that you can't get out of your head. Okay? For example, jingles from advertisements or slogans. For example, Nike, just do it. You see? That's an earworm. Or they get into your head. Yeah, you can't forget them. All right? And I bet I'm getting this word for word, exactly as it is. So look, I did 3 of them, but the rest is your responsibility. Do your best on the street. Now you're going to watch 5 people talking about advertising. And you're going to tell me how many of these ladies and gentlemen are influenced by advertising campaigns. Just give me a number. Let's go.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
Most definitely.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion?
Alcohol and junk food to children.
Why should those ads be banned?
Because it's promoting something that's unhealthy, and that, especially junk food to children, when they see it, they're very susceptible to the adverts and then they want it immediately. And it's a problem.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I'm sure I am. Probably not consciously, but I'm sure subconsciously.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
I mean, I don't care for cigarette ads or alcohol ads, but should they not be advertised? That's not a decision I should make, so I don't think so.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I'm not very influenced by ad campaigns. I'm influenced by reviews.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
The only thing that comes to mind that should be banned from advertisement is I think they tend to use the female body inappropriately to sell things and items. That's pretty much the only thing that I could think of.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I think that everyone is somewhat influenced by advertising campaigns, even on a minor level.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
Perhaps cigarettes shouldn't be advertised because children probably shouldn't be seeing them advertised in a cool or exciting manner.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I think a lot of people are usually influenced, a little by advertisement, especially because there's so much advertisement on media, and we watch a lot of TV, internet. I try not to be. I try to research the product on my own using internet or whatnot, and try to choose the best product, not because of the advertisement.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
Advertisements for cigarettes, I think, should be banned. I don't think there's anything positive about cigarette smoking, so I think that anything that causes health issues or bad influences or addiction should be banned from being on commercials.
Okay, so check with your friends. I think 4 of them say that they are influenced by advertising campaigns. Now you're going to watch again, all right? And for example, tell me who is against ads that can make smoking seem attractive to young people. Just include their names or the capital letter of their names. All you.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
Most definitely.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion?
Alcohol and junk food to children.
Why should those ads be banned?
Because it's promoting something that's unhealthy, and that, especially junk food to children, when they see it, they're very susceptible to the adverts and then they want it immediately. And it's a problem.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I'm sure I am. Probably not consciously, but I'm sure subconsciously.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
I mean, I don't care for cigarette ads or alcohol ads, but should they not be advertised? That's not a decision I should make, so I don't think so.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I'm not very influenced by ad campaigns. I'm influenced by reviews.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
The only thing that comes to mind that should be banned from advertisement is I think they tend to use the female body inappropriately to sell things and items. That's pretty much the only thing that I could think of.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I think that everyone is somewhat influenced by advertising campaigns, even on a minor level.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
Perhaps cigarettes shouldn't be advertised because children probably shouldn't be seeing them advertised in a cool or exciting manner.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I think a lot of people are usually influenced, a little by advertisement, especially because there's so much advertisement on media, and we watch a lot of TV, internet. I try not to be. I try to research the product on my own using internet or whatnot, and try to choose the best product, not because of the advertisement.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
Advertisements for cigarettes, I think, should be banned. I don't think there's anything positive about cigarette smoking, so I think that anything that causes health issues or bad influences or addiction should be banned from being on commercials.
Well done. Check your answers with your friends. Now, in the first case, Ivan or Ivan is against ads that can make smoking seem attractive to young people. As for number 2, Yasuko prefers to do their own research before they buy a product. And Janine and Yvonne say that they are concerned about young people's health. Dustin is not sure we should ban the advertising of unhealthy products. And Elvira thinks that women are sometimes exploited in advertising. You did great. Now I need you to watch again and complete the highlighted colloquial English phrases. Let's do it together.
When they see it, they're very susceptible to the adverts, and then they want it immediately. And it's a problem.
I'm sure I am. Probably not consciously, but I'm sure subconsciously.
The only thing that comes to mind that should be banned from advertisement is... That's pretty much the only thing that I could think of.
So I think that anything that causes health issues or bad influences or addiction should be banned from being on commercials.
Awesome. So you watched videos about it. You learned new slangs and metaphors. You learned new words. Now it's time for you to talk about it. So first, take a look at the pictures. The first one, George Foreman and his grill. May his soul rest in peace. He was my favorite boxer.
The George Foreman Easy Clean Grill isn't just a faster, healthier way to cook. Removable grill plates means you can easily wash them. Or pop them in the dishwasher, George.
That is easy.
The lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine with removable grill plates from George Foreman.
Great tasting, healthier food in minutes.
Now, the sports shoes, you can see the billboards. And you see some companies with their slogans or jingles. For example, McDonald's. I'm loving it. Yeah. And in the old times, we had the advertisement of cigarettes. And there were cigarette cards. If you remember correctly, you can ask your granddads. And if you have played Red Dead Redemption 2, you can see that in the cigarette packs, there are cigarette cards about different subjects, from horses to gunslingers. Yeah. Now these are the questions. Take a look at the questions. Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns? Well, in my case, if the price is right, why not? And is there any product that you think shouldn't be advertised? Well, I don't know, maybe cigarettes and alcohol? And are there any jingles or slogans that you remember from your childhood? You know, maybe McDonald's and Nike's Just Do It, yeah? Why do you think they were so memorable? Are there any other that you have gotten into your head since then? Well, I remember those two. Are there many billboards in your country? Do you think they make the streets uglier or more attractive? Well, in Turkey, where I live, there are so many billboards and some people write graffitis on them. And last question, how important do you think humor and celebrities are in advertising? Well, I mean, humor is very important, just like the ads that I showed you during the lesson. But celebrities, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can trust them. But these are my answers. We want your answers. Write your answers down and speak with your friends. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, it was fun. So we watched some videos from Mr. George Tannenbaum about advertising and we talked about it. And you learned some new metaphors and idiomatic expressions along the way. Thank you very much for watching. As always, workbook coming right up. You can download the slides in the description part. And if you have a question, you can comment down below and I'll get back to you. Well, I did my job. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll be seeing you very, very soon. Bye-bye.